welcome. Apologize for being late. I thought the press conference was over there, so my bad. They told us that we couldn't walk, and so it just got worse. It was all on my part. But welcome back home, everybody. That was a joke, and that's about it. I'd love to have something scripted to say, but the truth is I've never been really good at talking at you. I'd like to talk with you.
Feels good to me. I mean, I lived here for 14 years, so I adopted myself here as an Okie import, and
Excuse me. Just when we left here, I had a list about this long to get done. She was the one that was crying over there. I had to leave it here. I was the one that was going, oh my God, we got 4 billion things to do, And so it hit me after we got there how much you miss it, But it's great. It's great to be home. It's always great to be here. And since we raised our kids here and kind of this imprint on it, I don't think this ever leaves. It makes a difference. A little difference from being raised here and then coming back and then spending as much time we did with our children here. Kind of puts an imprint on you. So it's great to see saw Brock and Gillum as soon as we rolled in, and it's great to see. And we brought some guys back with us too, because a lot of our crew is from Oklahoma as well. Well, I don't know. Your history here is probably, I'm thinking the old lady on Brady and probably Canes, I think maybe. And my history here is the Mabee Center and Driller Stadium. That's what I came back for, the crowd at Driller Stadium. If only those people would have showed up, that'd been great for me. We had the greatest time. I remember we played what was at that time the Myriad after Tulsa, and that's my home. I mean, that's where I grew up. That's everything. And Tulsa was, so I thought that Oklahoma City would be the louder of the crowds, of course, and Tulsa by far was the louder of the crowds. Just come back to listen to these people and hopefully get them riled up and see what they can do. Let's talk about the Twister Relief Show. First of all, I'm going to have a confession. I think I saw God that day. I was kind of hot. It was like 120 degrees down there, and I started spinning. And I thought, oh, please, just not here in front of everybody, that day. But that was fun, and that was a lot bigger stage than what you'll see us on tonight. But let's say your job was eating ice cream, okay? And your boss goes, hey, you're going to have to pull a double shift tonight. That's it. It's like you get to do it twice, which is fun. So, our job is to give everything we got to that first crowd, find what else you can give to the second crowd. And what I found, it's like having babies. When you have that first baby and you're scared to death when the second one comes, will you love it as much as that first one? And they come with their own little package of love just for them, kind of thing. And that's what happens. You give everything you got, and when the second show comes around, something happens, and you just get all this new energy for the second show. So I'm not, the only thing I'm worried about that physically is just, that's it. But yes. You're going to see a lot of rust. It's been, when was Little Rock?
It's been about 3 weeks.
Little Rock was 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Really? It feels like about a year and a half ago.
Maybe a month.
We're going to go over to sound check and see how everything. So we got some new stuff we're going to try tonight, and we're going to be taking a lot of notes. So since it is Tulsa, the crew and everything is ready for the kind of set in here for 2 weeks. We're going to go through a lot of notes and a lot of things that happened in the first 3 months of the tour. Now we're going to change and keep the things that worked throughout the things that didn't. Try some new stuff, because with social media and everything, seeing it on Facebook, seeing it on YouTube, all this stuff, our job is to kind of reinvent this tour a lot quicker than what the old days would have had you reinvent the tour.
Can you give us a sneak peek into the concert?
You can't tell them that?
My wife said I can't say that. Oh, sweet. It's neat for music to be the fabric or the soundtrack of somebody's life, because I know who was the fabric and soundtrack of my life. So when I see Straight, when I'm in a room with him, I try to hold myself together, but I do this right here, because that was just how I was raised. That stuff's what you're raised on, so that's what you remember. So you're thankful for that, and it's very sweet to be in that position. And now they're bringing their children, which is very sweet. And then it also makes you feel very old sometimes too. So, yes.
What will you miss about living in Owasso?
I mean, it's the people. When I first came out to Oklahoma 15 years ago now, I didn't know anybody really but Garth, and he told me, he said, what you're going to love most about Owasso are the people, and he was right, and that's what I miss the most, and the sunsets, and Brahms.
There it is. We were sitting somewhere. Our first tour, my first tour that I ever had an opening act, she was the opening act. Her first tour she was ever the opening act of was our tour. So we'd run these buildings, and me and her would sit back 25 years ago. We'd sit up in the thing while they're setting it all up, and we would talk about where we're from and stuff. And she said, what do you miss most about Oklahoma? Sunset and Brahms always were the two. So when she got here, we watched every sunset together, I think. Every one. It's real important to us. And then on her dad's birthday, whom she lost, it's tax day, April 15th. We call it Jack's Day because her dad's name was Jack. And our thing was to get in Jack's old truck and go to Brahms for that anniversary every year. So that's what I miss.
We're going to have a longer drive this April, but we're coming.
Yes, we do. But what I miss mostly are the faces. I miss Brock and Gillum, these guys around here, Brain out at the farm, and just miss those guys. Very sweet. And we do have exactly, when you say you could have anybody you wanted, you're right, and we did. This woman is what it's all about. I'm going to let Trisha take this one because her and Trisha are dear friends, and I'll finish up because I'm a huge fan. So.
Well, Karen Rochelle is an incredible singer and songwriter, and she, I know Karen from Georgia Rain. She wrote that. She's written tons of hits for other artists as well. But she is really talented and a great person. And it's, when you're on the road, it's not only about having great and talented musicians and singers. It's about being able to get along on those 22 hours that you're not on the stage. And she's amazing. So I don't know how, did I introduce you to Karen? I must have.
Yeah.
And then, if you're in Nashville and someone pitches you a song and Karen Rochelle's a songwriter, you can't wait to hear the song because it's going to be great. You also can't wait to hear the demo because she's going to be singing it and it's going to sound incredible and you're going to want to put it in your collection. So the world needs to hear this voice. And when we did some of the few shows that we did, like the flood relief shows in Nashville, we invited her to come and sing harmony, sing backup, and she did. And so she was one of the first calls we made for this tour, and she said yes about singing just in the big show. And then Garth asked her about opening the show, and I think she still gets sick to her stomach every single night. but she's changing lives out there. I know from being in her position of coming out and having like a 20-minute set, and knowing that there's 16,000 people coming that are chanting the name, Garth's name. I've been in that position on that opening slot, and I told her, I said, you will have those moments where you'll see the connections you're making in that crowd, even though there are people that are getting their popcorn and their beer. And she signs autographs after, she goes out and signs CDs and autographs after the shows, and she gets a chance to meet people, and she gets to see the fact that she is making a difference out there. So I think she's enjoying herself.
She is so good that she'll be the separator. There'll be people tonight that think, I want to go to Nashville and do it. They'll hear her and go, hell no, I'm staying here. Because you can't compete. She's fantastic. There'll be the other half that go, that's the girl I want to be right there. She's tough. She's funny. She's about this tall. And she is just got full of muscle. When she opens her mouth, you're going to go, oh my God. And she can play any instrument on there. In the show tonight, she'll play 3 or 4 instruments. She'll be all over the stage. But just a talented young lady. Yes, sir. You had to be a baby. Cute. Very sweet. Yeah, he was sweet. We were in St. Louis, I think. Big Chuck comes back and he goes, "There's a guy named Justin here." He says he's a big fan of stuff. It was Justin Timberlake. And you walk up and you go, "Are you kidding me?" But this guy, you know, they evidently they got YouTube footage of him doing Two of a Kind, as he was probably about as old as you were at Drillers, you know. And so it's very sweet. I got to tell you, on this new record, what helped me was I didn't trust my pen because I'd been out for a long time. But what was weird was the songwriters who were now moving to Nashville were raised on Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood music kind of thing, that era. So there were a lot of guys that were penning what I would have penned myself, I feel. So there was a lot of relatable stuff for me to pick from. So I thought that was funny how that circle kind of completed itself there. But it's very flattering because, again, I know the reason why I sound like I sound and dress like I dress is because of George Strait. So it's funny to see the next thing kind of happen that way.
So when we talked 18 months ago at a press conference, very much like this, you're talking about music bubbling up again and the hope and anticipation of that, and seeing as you've played a series of sold-out shows now and have represented platinum as of yesterday, what is it like now? What do you hope it would be?
It's still scary. It's still scary, but you know the whole thing is, what do you want to do in the second half of your career if you're lucky enough for God and the people to give you a second half? And for me, I want to make everything in the 90s look small. We all laugh. That's what we do. Then you look at the tour. 120% so far of what we did in the 90s. That makes you feel good. Is it because the people, hopefully, that you went to see then are coming back to see you and now they're bringing their kids with them? And that's the extra 20? That's what you're hoping. And then, the record sales aren't what they were in the 90s. The whole industry is down. But it still doesn't mean that you don't touch that many people. It's just maybe they're being touched in other ways. Facebook, YouTube, plays that you used to, the only way you got the music was listen to the radio or buy it. You could drop off you could make your little copy of cassettes. But that took longer, and music was cheap enough, to buy it then. So I think the consumption is still there. And then as far as the business, that's probably the biggest uphill change that's happened. And you just try and make sure the people are getting a good value for what they're spending their money for. Like tonight, that's a lot for a ticket. Comparatively speaking, people say, "Hey, man, your tickets are really cheap." For me, $70 is a hell of a lot of money. Double it if you're going to bring a date. You never come by yourself. Bring your kids. Now by 4 if you don't. Babysitter. Dinner, usually you want to buy a T-shirt. You want to have a beer at the place or something. That gets expensive. Parking, that's tough. So you try and make it worth the people that are paying their hard-earned money. You hopefully that the whole thing that is now, once again, is if this guy comes back, I'll be back. That's what you want. Sorry, man. I don't know why I'm so emotional. But yes.
Such a girl.
I guess must be. Quit it. Thank you. your sanity comes at home. Just it. You can get caught up in all this stuff, like Twitter, and all this stuff. For Twitter and Facebook, what I tell them is, right now I'm still trying to define what line to share and what not to share. And we were talking, and of course the team wants you to do everything. You know, take your phone in when you're going to the bathroom. Just do everything, you know. And God, I just don't think that's right, kind of thing. So I think for me, this is my reality check right here. Young lady that grew up outside a small town in Georgia, got her head on straight. So it's a good reality check to ping back and forth. So here's a classic example. We were watching football on a Sunday or Saturday, and she tweeted watching football with my husband. And the comments back were, it would have been better if you'd have shown us a picture. And you're thinking, yeah, you know, well, it's just, you can imagine what it is, but why is it better if if there's a picture? There's some things to share and whatnot. So I think keeping that grounded for me is a real important thing for me.
And I think it's also about, just like you said, how you're raised. You know, it's like, it's just who you are. I mean, I have a theory that, people that are in the entertainment industry who tend to start believing their own press, or, thinking that they're something different than what they were when they were a kid, were kind of heading that path no matter what they did for a living, and then people who are kind of, put in their place when they're kids I know both of our parents definitely taught us about, how to respect others. And my mom was famous about saying, if somebody asked her, how's your famous daughter, she'd say, which one, even though, it was like if you asked about one of her children, there was not well, this one's cooler because this is what she does for a living. It's just what we do. We are very, I probably didn't take a picture while we were watching football because I don't know how many days it had been since I'd had a shower, and I didn't want to post the picture. So we're pretty down to earth. Boring is a good thing. But so for us, I love the whole glitz and glamour and the getting ready and the going out on stage and the TV shows and all that stuff. But I also love putting on a pair of his coveralls and hopping in the Jeep and taking a trail ride, or just walking through the woods, marking spots where we're going to build another trail, that kind of stuff. Those are the things that's what life's about.
Yeah, I think the crowds feel very different on this tour compared to the 90s. And I'm going to blame it on karaoke, I think. I really am. I think we're less inhibited, is that the right word, to not sing. I mean, used to, Ireland had the patent on, you start a song, you can't hear yourself the rest of the song. They're going to finish it. But now, everywhere on this tour, our last stop was Little Rock. And I got to tell you, the last night in Little Rock, you'd have to try and surprise them with the first two words of a song, and then they just take it over. And it makes my job easy. But, yeah, so it's really cool. And also then physics comes into play, because we talked about this before. One, beers are bigger than I've ever seen them before. They're like my calf now, And so you've got a beer in one hand and an iPhone in another. So how in the world, after the songs, are they louder than they've ever been applauding? I don't know how they're doing it, but it's fantastic. There's something going on, and I'm going to think it's in all music, because we went to Justin's show when he came to Nashville. Crowd was crazy loud. So I just think the crowds are getting less, whatever the word is, they're just not holding back. I mean, they're getting into part of the show. For an entertainer, that's a wonderful thing. Yes, well, we just released the new one, so the next one is, yes.
How has releasing that album and this tour changed the way you approach the next album? Has it changed the way that you look at how this process goes now?
That's a great question. One, I'm not in the field yet to answer that. Right now, the album that we are starting is the Christmas Duets, our first duet album ever, and it'll be a Christmas one. That's a great way to stick your toe in the water. We're finally under the same label together. So, but I think the big thing for me on this next studio album that's coming up, if good Lord willing, the people give me a chance to make it, I think it's probably going to be more of the pen. Love Nashville. You can't outright the town. Fantastic. Will I have probably more songs submitted for this next album than any album I've ever done? Yeah, probably, just because I'd been pent up for 14 or 15 years, and then I didn't trust my pen, and now, looking at this going, I'm starting to have a lot more confidence in it.
Well, actually, I can't really do proms. I don't think it's been a big Christmas.
I love how honest you are.
You know, I've famously talked about my Zumba girls, my friends I do Zumba with. I'm going to go see them, and I'm going to just see my friends. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. And we also have a bunch of guys here that we've been bragging about this place forever. So we're going to take them to some places to eat. We do it all family style, the crew, band, everybody. We travel together everywhere we go. So we got some places we're going to take them. I'm going to go down and see. We'll probably have a Coney competition coming up here and see. I got a couple of guys on the crew I'm going to put my money on as far as who can eat the most. But we're going to have fun while we're here for these 10 days. When it comes to new albums, we've always treated it the same. If it was No Fences or Ropin', Sevens, whatever, you don't force the new album. We'll talk about this tonight and every night when you talk about what you can expect from the show. I am very much like you guys, whether you knew that while I was here or not. I'm the same. It's, one big interview in my life, the lady asked me what my superpower was. And I says, I think I'm the guy next door. I think that's my superpower. I think I'm just like everybody else. So for me, when I go to a concert, and I do, when I pay my money, and I do, and when I stand in my seat, and I do, I don't come there to hear their new album. I come there to hear the old stuff. That's what I'm there for. If they've got a new album, I'm a fan. I'll eventually get it. So, yeah, you can sprinkle, but I don't want to walk out of a James Taylor concert and not hear Fire and Rain. I don't want to walk out of a Queen concert, and not hear, Somebody to Love or Bohemian Rhapsody. It's just how it is. You go to a straight concert, well, hell, he's got 80,000 number ones, so, you're going to hear everything there. But so I think that's important. So we bring all of our old stuff, and for people, if the concert gets too long, they can leave. It's their ticket, so. Yes. Well, we'll see. A lot of it on the new stuff depends on signs. They'll bring their signs if this place is like the other places we're playing. They'll let you know what they want to hear. And so new music is always more fun if you've got somebody from the crowd leading it back to you. Oh, man. You have picked a sore subject between my wife and I now.
It's my song. It should have been my song. Let's just take the next question.
That was an argument at the House of Bigwood. Yes, ma'am. Do you remember it? Okay. Yes. No.
Not on purpose.
No. Just the physics of this big ass on a rope anymore. No, it doesn't work. But we'll have some other things. It's a Garth show, so hopefully it's going to be fun like that. Yes, right behind you. There's a list. I can't tell you the list. Times have changed a lot since the 90s. And I guess times have changed a lot from there, from the 70s, whatever, as time goes on. But I hope they walk in that building and realize the second they get in that building, they can leave all this shit behind. And for 2 hours, just throw your head back. Know you're safe. You're among people who are sweet. Sing as loud as you can. Have as much fun as you can without hurting anybody else. It's kind of a love fest, I'd like to say. So that's the kind of attitude I like. Anybody that's going into that building tonight to go, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? If it's music, I want to show you it can happen to anybody. The amount of talent doesn't really play that much. It's just about how hard you want it or how bad you want it, if that's what you think you're supposed to be doing. Like we told this gentleman here, I want people to see, I want little girls to see Karen Rochelle and go, that's what I want to do for a living, right there. This gentleman that says he went to Driller Stadium as a kid, and it changed his life. That's what you want. And you want it to do for the better. You'd like two people that come there for their first date, end up being married with children and being happy. That's the list goes on and on. What do you want to?
No, I mean, I agree. I think it's always been, you always wish when people come in that they can leave whatever's happening in their lives, if they can just enjoy. And I especially on these shows, I've seen just joy is the word. Everybody seems to be having such a wonderful time. And in the times that we live in now, where it's not just about what's going on in your own life, it's about what's going on in the world. I think it is even more important to go in and have that joy for that time. And I mean, I have it too. I mean, I worry about all kinds of things that are happening in the world. But when we're in there on stage and we're singing and we're singing with this crowd and everybody's there for the right reasons, it's a good thing. It's good for your soul.
This is the first tour where I have ever got to be a guitar player. In the old world, she would open the show, we'd do our thing. Well, in this show, we do our show, and somewhere in the middle of it, here comes Trisha Yearwood. Okay? So then I become a band member. I sit back there and play my guitar, and now I get to watch. And I got to tell you, it's the greatest gift I've ever received on stage, is to get to watch, because if they're having as much fun at my part of the show as they are at her part of the show, then they must be having a hell of a great time. But when you're doing it, when you're the front guy, you don't get to see it all, because you're thinking what comes next, you're looking out, you're finding your people, but you don't see it as a mass. When you're sitting back there, it's like one big canvas. There was an old boy in Chicago. This has happened 100 times. The opening city of Chicago, this big kid, he had to be a biscuit shy of 300 pounds. And he's out there and he's got his biker gear on. He's got this orange headband. He's just sitting there. I'm throwing rodeo at him. I'm throwing everything. Thunder rolls. She comes out. She's in love with the boy. Here he is. She's in love. And he's like, and I'm like, I can't be. So it's great to see them have a great time, to just throw their head back and sing like nobody else is in the room. That's a wonderful thing to see. You'll hopefully see that if you look. Yes, ma'am. Really?
Thank you.
What do you mean? Well, for me, this is going to be kind of a her question, because the truth is, and I don't know how to say this other than just say it, wherever she's at is home for me. So whatever she wants to do, just kind of leaving it up to her. And if she goes, I want to live in Oklahoma on the beach, then I'm going to go to work. Trust me. I'm going to go to work. Yes, ma'am. Oh, are you talking about Heidi's family? What a sweet, sweet girl. Really? Well, right. Yeah, so people know who, Miss Yearwood knows who Heidi is, but for you people who don't know, Heidi Miller was a college roommate, actually. I left there with an advertising degree, got a letter from Oklahoma State saying I was 1 hour short. I couldn't take electives because I'd done all that, and so now I didn't have scholarship money, I didn't have anything, so I had to go back up to Stillwater to take a full summer of classes to graduate. And that summer, to pay for it, Heidi Miller suggested I go down to this place called Willie's Saloon and play. It was my first paying gig. And Heidi was the person that always said, when you go, do you think, before you even got through, she goes, yes, of course. Heidi was that person. So Heidi was the reason why I play music professionally. She's the reason why everything was, I'm sitting there, and one night at Willie's turns into 2 nights, 3 nights. You're playing thumpers, tingles, playing all this stuff. And remember, this is cash money, no taxes in college, right? So you're making good money, and you think, oh my gosh, maybe this is what I'm supposed to be doing. That's Heidi Miller. right there. So Heidi, so when you say what other people influence you on, I know her personally, and I can name people like Stephanie Brown, Bob Doyle, Brian Kennedy's dad. Those are three very instrumental people in Nashville. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Heidi Miller was one of the instrumental people here in Oklahoma, along with my mom, is the reason why I'm doing it, and my dad. It's no different, I can tell you that. Crowds are bigger, and but it's no different. It's still about relating one-on-one to those people that love music, and it's still about them singing. We did a 4-year gig at Wynn out there, just me and my guitar, and I had buddies like Craig Clemens and Brian Petrie, who still work together, that was with me at Willie's, and they pull you over and go, "You son of a bitch, you're doing the same show you did at Willie's," you know. And it's no different. So it's still about relating through music. Did I think that it'd ever get like this? No. But every day before something happens, you never think. Before Central Park, did I ever think that would happen? No. But even greater than all of this is a shot at a second half of a career. Nobody's ever got one, you know. And if you start naming names and people think you're comparing yourselves with them, but you think about it, nobody ever gets a second half. So I'm not saying it's coming for us, but so far the people have been very sweet to make you think that it might be possible.
Whether you come back to Oklahoma for good or not, I'm sure you'll always consider it home.
Oh, sure.
How would you describe Oklahoma to someone who's never been there?
He would say it's the land of common sense.
Anytime we're in a fight or an argument, I bring that up. Common sense, common sense. It's the land of common sense. It's the place where I'm not sure about the attractions to see, but it's the people. And then if you want to look, if Hollywood did a Hall of Fame, if professional sports did a Hall of Fame, if music did a Hall of Fame, people would be stunned. The majority of those people in both those Hall of Fames would be Okies. Just a talented place that's just full of good people. Well, what I'm thinking is I'm getting ready to enter the town where the highest percentage of jump from the 90s to now has happened. You know, we did 200,000 tickets in St. Paul, Minneapolis. We're very lucky. That was a 114% increase. That's about the average, is 114% or 120% like we were talking about. Tulsa was over 150%. So as my dad would say, I would look at my dad and go, "Hey, that's pretty impressive, isn't it?" And my dad would say, "That's a lot of people you could disappoint, bud." That was my dad. So we're going to get on what he would say, get on your high horse and go to work. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to study. First night, the opening night, it's going to be rusty. It's going to be rickety. It's going to be really loose. And then hopefully as the shows go on, like any city, you start to find out what hones in and goes. So hopefully the first show goes really, really well, and everyone goes better as it goes.
What was that like as tickets were selling and you just added more shows and were you just like a little kid excited with all this, or describe that morning for us?
Well, you can't hold that morning compare it to anything, because everything else, Chicago, Boston, Detroit, all those things, you're nervous and you're scared. Here, all you want to do is mean something to the people you grew up with. That's all you want to do. You can go be somebody over across the seas and everything, but no matter how much somebody loves you somewhere else, it's your hometown that when you go back to your home state, those are the people that you're going, please, you know. So that was cool. So it wasn't as excited or nervous as it was emotional, maybe. And it was very sweet because, hell, you could see us down at Subway for nothing. You know, here, you know. That was it. Thank you. Miss Yearwood said we live a very kind of regular kind of life. We call it boring. That's what we do. Our life is very boring until we get to do this, and that's pretty cool.
I know you're gonna have friends here tonight or at least this weekend. Do you have family members or kids? Are they gonna be in town?
Yeah, everybody's, hopefully everybody's here. The greatest gift, if anybody out there is a parent of multiple children that are in their late teens and early 20s, you can't pin them down for 2 seconds. They're gone. A lot of their life's busy. So my Christmas wish was that I got her and the 3 children at one table for 20 minutes is all I ask. And I got that for Christmas. So I doubt all 3 of the girls will be here at the same time because they're all so different. And one of them is still, in Tennessee. So, but yeah, hopefully I can't see my babies enough. Yes, sir.
Well, both of those answers go together. Go ahead. Go ahead, honey.
Oh, I'm waiting to see what I think. Go ahead. I think the key for us is marrying your best friend. I think that's it. That's the whole thing. We can sit here and we can even go to a shouting match, but we understand when the lights go out, we're still on the same team. We've talked about this before. At the end, what are you really going to do? Because there's no other way. It's whatever that emperor was that when all the ships came onto the beach, when they invaded, and then they turned around and burned all the ships because what they were saying was, we ain't going back. Well, when we got married, that's kind of what we said.
We burned the ships.
We burned the ships. And trust me, she's been trying to find the pieces of them ever since. But I think that's it. I just think it's if you're with a person that you want to be with, then all this other stuff's you're gonna weather it, and that's it. Yes, ma'am.
Miss Yearwood.
Miss Yearwood.
I mean, we've been married 9 years. I'm telling him he can call me Trisha at any point, but he's still.
I think it was just because we knew each other for so long that way, and then it just I don't know how to break it. I think the reason why I like it. I think I like the way it sounds. And
He also calls me the Queen a lot, and I saw you on the Today Show yesterday, and he said something about the Christmas tree lighting at Rockefeller Center. He goes, "Oh yeah, the Queen was there for that," and they're looking at him like, "I don't think the Queen was here for that," and I'm thinking, like, he was talking about me.
Yeah.
One of our
Yes.
Facebook viewers and friends has a question for you.
Okay.
Jerry DeWeese says, what's the one moment that's made a major impact in your life for professional years? If you could find one.
That's tough. I mean, for me, the whole difference when you say what's the difference between the 90s and today, there's the difference between the 90s and today. That's life. So in the old days, you would love your 2 or 3 hours on stage in the city, but then trying to figure out what the hell do you do with the other 20 hours, And now you spend the other 20 hours with your best friend. So the stage in this time isn't any different. It's really cool. So I think that's probably the biggest change. Kent Blasey introduced us back in 1987, and dang it, if I had my phone, I got a picture of that day that we took together, and I carry it with me everywhere. So it's like, I think that's probably the biggest thing for me. Do you have was it meeting me? Was that?
No, I definitely think, like we were talking earlier about musicians and traveling, and you do spend, many more of your hours off stage than on stage, and it really is wonderful. I mean, I hear my friends talk about how, man, I just had to go away for the weekend to get away from my husband for a weekend or whatever it is, and I'm like, I'm really excited to get to hang out with mine. It's like we have a good time, we have mutual respect for what each other does, and he pretty much listens to everything that I say, which is good. And actually, I talk a lot and he gets really quiet. That's a guy thing. Personally, the biggest change in my life has been losing my parents. Garth would probably say the same thing. That's another thing that's different. I always had a cheerleader when I toured, but now I just travel with my cheerleader, so it's good.
You
Yes, ma'am. Country music is crazy. I got to record with guys like Billy Joel, the group Kiss. Got to record them. Sweetest guys on the planet when they're right here, sitting right here talking to you. You go, I love this guy. Right before they walked out the door, right before, you saw this thing come over them. This rock and roll attitude, I guess, where they had to be somebody else when they went out, you know? I don't think country music's that way. So the greatest way for me to prepare started 4 months ago. It's called Twitter. And it's fantastic. Hey, Garth, I'm in row 12. I brought the sign to do the song, and you're going, just got out of the shower. I'm excited, you know, getting dressed, getting ready to play. Can't wait to play music. That's the cool thing. So I get kind of giddy that way. And then after the show, if you can believe this, you can actually feel the excitement in their words on Twitter. It raises. And so you get to pop back and forth with them again after the show, and that's probably some of my most fun things. So that's kind of what I've been doing to get ready, because if you're excited, I'm excited. Then hopefully if I'm excited, you're excited, and it just keeps going back and forth. Scared to death.
I don't like to be ready too much ahead of time, because if I have time, if I'm waiting, if I'm standing there dressed and, you know, the hair's done, the makeup's on, I know you're the same way, then I start to get nervous. So I am famous for being like painting my fingernails, walking down the hall and stuff like that, because I just don't like to be, I don't like to be ready ahead of time. If there's time to kill, I get nervous.
I agree. That's the good thing.
In Tulsa, are you more nervous or anxious about playing your now?
I am, because it may be different for you, but for me, I always, I'm more shy, even though I have worked really hard to be comfortable in front of an audience, and maybe people would think that that's not true, but I really am in here more shy, and so it's easier for me to perform in front of a bunch of people that I don't know. And I know a lot of my friends are going to be in these shows, and so I'm more nervous about them being here than I would be if I didn't know anybody in the crowd. Even if it's 15,000 people, it's harder for me to play in front of 7 people that I know. Cain's was a challenge, you know, but you know what? I was so excited about Cain's because I've been hearing about Cain's Ballroom my whole life and lived here for 14 years and had never even been to it. And so when I got to play it, to be in the building, I was so excited to be there that I just really took it all in. I enjoyed myself.
Garth, you're pretty new to social media. It sounds like you like Twitter a little bit. You haven't always been such a fan of YouTube.
Right.
You've had a really nice moment go viral during the first episode with Teresa Shaw, your moment, and Justin Timberlake, when you sang his viral as well. Is there any chance that you'll ever those moments when they come around to you, like going viral?
No, how do I consume most of my stuff? YouTube. I do. It's a great idea when it comes to uploading people's music, and that's how they get it without compensating those writers. That's not good. And talk about the degree of compensation. That's another thing too. If I pay you pennies on the dollar, and that makes me feel good about what I'm doing, it's still not right. So I appreciate everything, but here's a simple thing about YouTube. My whole plea is, hey guys, I was here before you. I have fought you ever since the day you came up. Can I grandfather clause? All I want is out. That's all I'm asking. You don't see any porn on there, so they have a filtering system that you can be out, but they're not going to do it. And I'm just saying, hey, shouldn't there be something? Some way where if you don't want your stuff on there, you just say, just don't play my stuff. That's it. But that doesn't exist, I guess.
How do you feel about some of these moments, magical moments,
It's very sweet. I got to tell you that Dublin, Ireland. Let's take that for example. First city we put on sale, 400,000 tickets in one city. Not because of YouTube, not because of Facebook, because of the stories that these people's parents told them. Lore. All of a sudden, Garth was 6'6", about 205. Lots of hair, right? It was great. So I like that too. There's great in that. You know, there's great in storytelling as well. But let's take Teresa Shaw, for example, that you just brought up, St. Paul, Minneapolis. I don't know how many people know this, but it was either today or yesterday, she was declared clean. I think a lot of that was because of people were praying for her, and a lot of people were praying for her. And I think a lot of people were praying for her because they saw that moment. So that's a great thing.
But I have to tell you, being there, that was the first thing that happened that on this tour, that we woke up the next day and it had just happened. Like when we toured before, it wasn't that, this was not a part of the thing. So that moment, that night, was so incredible to be there and to see that happen. But I didn't even think about the fact that the next day what would happen, and it was pretty overwhelming that it was just that it was my first experience of seeing something go viral like that in our own lives.
So my dad would tell you everything that is a blessing is a curse, and everything that is a curse is a blessing. It's just how it is, and that's what the internet is. Probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest inventions ever, and also a harbor for thieves and really bad things going on too. So we just got to go through there and pick, hopefully, pick the good things, try and get rid of the bad as much as we can as people. She never got out of it. I mean, she's the cookie.
I was going to
thing.
just say the same thing about you, actually.
What?
I was going to say the same thing about you.
Well, it was harder than hell for me. So you go ahead and you go ahead and do your thing. I'll do mine after.
Well, I mean, I did when I moved to Oklahoma and I cut my touring back and then basically stopped touring. I wanted to find something to do creatively, and so I wrote a cookbook with my mom and my sister, never dreaming that anyone would even buy it. And so it then became a second book, and then it became a TV show. And then I said, look, I can do this show, but I can't be gone from Oklahoma. And so they said, well, we'll come to Oklahoma and shoot. So we shot 4 seasons in Owasso. And so I've been working. I mean, so for me, it has been a little bit different. But what I was going to say on your end is that this guy is a 90 miles an hour guy. So if he's not on tour swinging from the chandeliers or flying around the stage, he wakes up like a puppy that's been completely in a coma, and then he wakes up ready to play. And so if you're not ready to go, he's on a bulldozer, or he's gone, or he's doing something. So 90 miles an hour is kind of the way he lives. Now he's just doing something different.
Yeah, you're dead on it for me. It's like sitting on an on-ramp, and everybody's going 100, and you're sitting still. And at some point, you're going to have to get out there. And this first 4 months has been really hard on me. Because you keep finding that you're always behind, trying to catch up. The social media thing, you're trying to get to that thing while all these other people are just blasting through it. And so getting up to speed is going to take a while. And I told all our guys 6 months, not 4, not 3, 6. So at 6 months, we'll do a really, really look inside of ourselves and see where we're at. So we got another couple months running with that. You guys have been very, very sweet. I can't thank you enough, and thank you for everything that's led up to here. Whoever was responsible for the naming of the street signs,
That was pretty cool.
that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. So can't thank you guys enough. It's great to be home. Yes, ma'am. Oh, same thing that I said when I was here. You're lucky if you're from the state. It's the land of common sense, great place to raise kids. But if you're from Oklahoma, you're going to have a leg up anywhere, any career you decide to go outside of the state for sure. Great people. Thank you all.
Thank y'all.
Fun is just beginning. She knows he's anticipating, but she's gonna keep him waiting. Grab a bite to eat, and then they're heading to the honky tonk with loud crowds.